So
It's
let's
confusing.
start there. Like,
Yeah.
how do you, are there a couple things that you do to help simplify it for people and those, general principles that are like must-haves?
Yeah. So I think there's three kind of like must-haves that I feel confident saying it's worth focusing on for a period of time. The first is variety, because variety really it is the spice of life, and a lot of us tend to eat a very monotonous diet. So the microbiome is very individual. It's a very specific thing. And what makes a healthy microbiome is many different things. Like a lot of good bacteria is great, less of the bad stuff. There's nuance there. But what we're learning is that one marker of a really healthy microbiome is diversity. So we have like a whole bunch of different microbes in our gut. The more diverse that those microbes, like the more our gut looks like muesli cereal as opposed to Cheerios. It seems that the more diverse the microbiome, the healthier the person. Less inflammation, easier weight management, better mental health. So one of the ways to have a diverse microbiome is to have variety in the diet. Because the more variety, the more different foods you're giving different bacteria. Because different bacteria eat different things. They eat different polyphenols. So I feel confident saying the more variety you have in your diet, the better. And in terms of like what to look for, it seems to be the number, and don't get overwhelmed because I know it's easy. Around 30 different plant foods a week seems to be a number to aim for. So those who had 30 or different varieties in their diet compared to those who had 10 or fewer had greater diversity in their gut. And when you just think of, okay, increasing variety, I know it's overwhelming. There's a lot of different ways to do that, and it's not as overwhelming. So if we're thinking variety, the first thing, obviously, increase your veggie and fruit intake. That's boring, and we know that, right? And we hear it again and again, but it's true. So veggies and fruits first, but it also means you can increase variety within the staples of what you're eating. So if you always just go to the market and buy Red Delicious apples, next time buy Gala,
Right.
next time buy green. So there's diversity in there. Herbs and spices count because herbs and spices have wonderful polyphenols, which then feed your good bacteria. They produce substances that also help other bacteria grow. It also means like vary where you shop, right? Different produce, different grocery stores source from different areas, which means that the soil is different, right? So there are ways to kind of nuance this, but without getting overwhelmed. Just the more herbs and spices you have, the more variety of colors you have in your diet, and the more really the variety overall, it really does make a difference.
Right. So if you figured out 2 different salads to make that have 5 ingredients to 8 ingredients each, there's 10 to 16 different foods right there.
Absolutely.
So that's sort of the idea?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even just like the spicy, like add dill to your eggs once in a while. And, the little things here and there, like there are so many, I'm sure in all of our cupboards, spices that just collect dust because we grab the salt and pepper first all the time, and the other ones are covering dust. So like that sort of stuff, fermented foods, of course, like the more we can explore different things, the better. And I'll harp on with the color, including more red foods in your diet, which we don't get a ton of, but like pomegranates and grapes, because red foods feed this very specific type of bacteria in our gut called, it's a very sexy name. It's called Akkermansia muciniphila. It was kind of discovered in like fairly recently, like 2010s or whatever, but this is known as like a keystone bacteria. It lives in the mucus of our gut, and it feeds on our mucus, also red polyphenols. And when it gets enough food, it produces byproducts that then feed and grow other bacteria. So by increasing variety and doing more reds, you help to feed this really important bacteria that will then give growth to other bacteria, and you'll have more diversity in your gut. So variety as an umbrella, that would be a must-have for me.